See, this should be the show. This is the show.
What?
This. Just talking.
Yeah, right.
I'm really serious. I think that's a good idea.
Just talking? Well, what's the show about?
It's about nothing.
They say, what's your show about? I say nothing.
There you go.
I think you may have something here.
Well, the Raiders lost 48-6 against the Sharks, and sure as hell wasn't pretty. Yeah, I think I'll keep this one short. You're tuned in to the Milkman Podcast. Hello and welcome back to the Milkman Podcast, your unofficial home for Canberra Raiders rundowns and the home for undeniable mediocrity. My name is Mitch Roberts, and that was a tough sit through, really, wasn't it? Saturday, Raiders lose 48-6 against the Cronulla Sharks. But before we get into it, let's get into a couple of things here. First of all, I want to apologise for the tardiness of the previous episode. Got it out a day late. Had some technical issues with the laptop. This time it wasn't the downloading of the episodes. It was the laptop saying I had no storage left. And fair enough, I've had this laptop for 6 years now. So there's 6 years of crap on here that I had to go through. I didn't go through all of it. I was just deleting apps and all that sort of stuff from out of the system. Obviously, you don't want to hear about PC issues. If you wanted to hear about that, you'd go to a PC podcast, but, you know, that's not me. I do not know the first thing about it. I probably deleted something very, very important. I'm looking at the recording now, and it's very laggy. So if this episode, if you're watching on YouTube, is laggy, that's why. Because I've got no idea what I've deleted. I've got no idea. Who knows? And I also want to apologise for the quality of last episode. And I don't mean what you're seeing. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, apologies for the quality. It is terrible. I know there's nothing I can do about it because I'm using my laptop camera for now. You know, you got to make do with what you got. I made that very clear in the comeback episode, and that's where we're at, unfortunately. But I want to apologise for how crap it was. It was terrible. I watched it back. I listened to it back. It wasn't a great listen. Put some effort in as far as editing goes and stuff like that. I'm pretty proud of myself for that. But I just thought, man, it's so late. I can't really re-record it. Unfortunately, I would have because it was terrible. But you know, I'm gonna. Obviously, it's a big thing getting back in front of the camera after a big hiatus like I took, and it's taking a bit of getting used to. Already, I feel like this one's going way better than the last. Obviously, I'm going to say that, but you know, again, things happen. That's just how things went. So there's the first ramble of the episode. So let's just jump straight into it now. Let's not beat around the bush here. We got absolutely dismantled in our second preseason game against the Cronulla Sharks in Gosford. 48-6, 16-0 at the half. Sean Packer, the lone try scorer in the 72nd minute. One improvement. There was at least one in one area. 1-for-1 on conversions. Chevy Stewart nailing the kick. I can't remember where it was from. Normally, I would re-watch a game before making a podcast on it, but I kind of refuse to re-watch this one. Hopefully this is the only one I refuse to rewatch because I just could not sit through it. I was on my laptop half the time. I was fixing stuff. I was fixing all my graphics for Instagram and all that sort of stuff. I was fixing the post templates and all that sort of thing. So I just could not watch. It was just a really tough watch, and I don't feel guilty about it because it was a preseason game. And we'll get into philosophies about preseason later and what my thoughts on it are, but we'll get into that later. I did have that in the script, but as far as rewatching go, I don't really feel very guilty about not rewatching it, but I feel like I'd be a little bit more inclined to rewatch a smashing like this in the actual premiership season. And if you can hear those birds in the background, I'm not mad at it because it's actually pretty calming and it's keeping me pretty down low, to be honest. That's actually quite nice. Sharks had 58% of the possession. If you were just looking at the score, it looks a lot more than that. It really does. I feel like a lot of our possession would have come late in the game, the 42%. Maths is really difficult for me. Please forgive me if that's wrong. I didn't put down ours. I apologise. But anyways, Raiders had 67% completion rate. Not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Or 25 for 37 completions to their 80 or 41 from 51 completion percentage or completions. Just wasn't very good. Undisciplined and I don't know if we had wet hands or something. It ended up raining in the game straight after in Gosford, and there was a lightning delay and all that sort of stuff, I believe. Was that the same ground? I can't remember. It could have been wet. It could have been our hands. It could have been anything. I don't know, but it was pretty bad to watch. We were dropping everything. There was an issue everywhere you looked, and it was just really tough to watch. I mean, the 16-0 halftime score, it really should have been more by our play. So we had 149 runs to their 213, 1,246 run meters to their 2,106. So almost 1,000 more run meters and almost just fairly shy of 100 runs. So they were just dominating the whole game, essentially. 441 post-contact meters to their 653. Almost 200 more. 3 line breaks to 12 of the Sharks. 26 tackle breaks to their 67. Not going to do it. I'm going to say that every time there's 67 or 69 on this podcast now, because what is 60? You know what? Not the time nor the place. 85 kick return meters to their 173. So almost 100 more kick return meters for this, almost at San Jose Sharks. My mind is in shambles. The Cronulla Sharks, almost 100 more kick return meters to the Cronulla Sharks. We had 109 passes to their 277. Again, almost 100 more. We were just on the back foot. We were just getting absolutely dominated at every turn by the sounds, by the looks as well. And it was by the looks. Defense, 80.51 effective tackle percentage to their 88.92. So, again, could have been late tackles. I really don't remember that much, and I don't really care to remember that much. So I'm pretty happy with that. We made 376 tackles to their 313. Yeah, okay, but we had 67 missed tackles to their 26. 24 ineffective tackles to their 13. So even when we looked good, it didn't look good at all. So there's always devil's in the detail, really, isn't it? Devil's in the detail. Point I want to make, discipline. We lacked it very, very, very much in the 2 games we played against the Storms and the Sharks, respectively. And we'll get into the combined stats in a second, but against the Sharks, 14 errors to their 10. Obviously, that doesn't seem that bad. 3 penalties conceded to their 6. Again, 7 ruck infringements to their 2. So we're giving up sets. We're giving up many sets, and one inside 10 metres each way. And I don't know how many of those ruck infringements wound up to be tries. I don't know how many of those penalties wound up to be tries either way. I don't know how many of those errors wound up to be tries either way. Who knows? I can't see those stats, and I'm not a stat keeper myself. I get all the stats from NRL.com. That was a very big mouthful. Shouldn't have been. Now, in the 2 preseason games against the Storms and Sharks, respectively, the Raiders led the error count 26-20. And obviously, it's 2 very different. It's a tale of 2 stories, really. It's cup flag versus cup flag in the Storms game, and then sort of just a bit of a reserve sort of side with a couple of starters sprinkled in for the Raiders versus pretty well the Sharks round 1 side. So, obviously, it's a tale of 2 stories, but I do want to point out how bad our discipline... It was terrible, and I'm still dumbfounded, to be honest. I don't know. I'm hoping this isn't a trend for the rest of the season, because it will cost us a hell of a lot of games, especially against the likes of the Storms or the Sharks or the Broncos, or even the Bunnies will run rampant if that's the case again. Where was I? So 26-20 error count, 10-11 in penalties conceded. So we were the better side in that regard. 3-1 inside 10. Not a great look again. 9-9 on ruck infringements. Great. So, and then we had 1 on report and 1 sin bin to both the Sharks and the Storms, 0. Obviously, that on report and sin bin was in the Storms game, so we were a little bit better in our discipline. We didn't take anyone's head off or anything like that this time around, but it was still pretty bad. It was still a bad watch. It was still a bad look, and like I said, hopefully it's not a constant thing for the rest of the season, because I hope it's not. Now, I mentioned earlier about the remark about it's only pre-season and stuff like that. I did say that a couple of times on Friday or Saturday's episode. Again, my bad. I said it's only pre-season a handful of times. I don't know how many. I didn't actually count. I probably should have. It probably would have been above 4. Knowing me, I do end up saying that a lot. I do wind up saying that a lot. But at the end of the day, it's still an evaluation thing, whether it be your starters, whether it be your starting lineup, whether it be the Jersey Flags, whether it be the New South Wales Cup guys or the reserves or the Brink starters or the blokes who come off the bench or the guys who are in the reserves, or, you know, whatever the case may be, it's still an evaluation thing. And when we put up our Cup flags versus an NRL side, obviously that's going to happen. But as in that loss against the Sharks is going to happen. But it was still a rough watch, and it was still something that Ricky Stewart will have to evaluate in some way, shape or form. And I really haven't thought this argument through. I haven't really got off the top of my head what I'm trying to get at. But what I do have is that Ricky Stewart will have to evaluate this sort of thing. And I'd hate to be Ricky Stewart evaluating this thing, and I'd hate to be a player getting evaluated by Ricky Stewart or the likes of Ricky Stewart. It would just suck, because you'd get torn to shreds. And in the Sharks game especially, rightfully so. And yeah, for the Storms game as well, like, just the discipline for both games, like I said, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, and Sticky's definitely going to take that and run with it, and he's definitely going to make a point out of it, because it was absolutely shocking. And yes, as I was saying, you know, it was near on the Sharks' full strength side, and the Raiders' reserves essentially, but it's still a matter of taking things away from the game and potentially implementing them one way or another, because, you know, we saw the Sharks' full side, and obviously we were playing our cup side essentially, or our reserves or cup flag or whatever you want to call it. we still scored a try against them, and Ricky has to sort of look at it and decide how can I make this the best way, and how can I make that happen more with our actual side. So there were minimal good takeaways from that game, but that try, you can sort of make something of it, if that makes any sense at all. Now, like I said, I wanted to keep this one short, and we're well on track to do so. So bear with me. Not long to go, I promise. Now, in the game, Matty Nicholson suffered a shoulder injury. He left the game early as it popped out. I don't have the minute on me. I don't know when it happened, but I know it happened. It would have happened when I wasn't watching because I did not see it happen. But they say it is a shoulder subluxation. I don't know what that means. I should have researched it. Actually, I will research it. Bear with me. Turns out it is a partial dislocation. Why not just say that? That's fair enough. Partial dislocation. Early test showed that he showed full strength. I could have worded that a hell of a lot better. And medical staff were hopeful of a quick turnaround for Matty Nicholson. Now let's turn our attention to the preseason standouts I saw for the preseason. So we'll go into the Storms player first that really stood out to me. I think I spent too long talking about Dane Laurie. I didn't really go into the stats of this man. He played very, very well. Very happy with his efforts. I don't know how long he played. I'm going to have a look. He played against the Storms. He played a grand total of, bear with me, he played the whole game apparently. That's not my recollection of it. But anyway, Sione Finau. Oh, of course he played the whole... What am I talking about? Anyway, yes, I think he was the player of the game against the Storms. I didn't put together a player of the game thing for either preseason game. I don't know why. I just didn't. I should have because these guys stood out big time. I might actually make this a post in itself because they all these three guys were absolutely incredible. So, but against the Storms, Sione Finau, 2 tries, 10 runs, 116 run meters, 23 post-contact meters, 3 line breaks, 3 tackle breaks, 1 hit up, 1 offload, 3 passes, 12 receipts, 1 tackle, and a couple of handling errors. And I stopped after receipts because I actually only just learned what a receipt was. There was a couple of things in my mind of what it could have been. I was completely wrong. Took me this long to learn what a receipt was. How about that? But yeah, Sione Finau, player of the game against the Storms. Post coming soon. That is a great idea. I'll have to make a note of that. Now against the Sharks. Now, it was pretty hard to pick a standout because I felt like most were pretty bad, but this guy was absolutely outstanding. He looked so good. I don't know how he's going to break into the side because of our depth. He should. Let me know, will he break into the side? I'd love to know your thoughts on Noah Martin and how he will break into the side because he put on such a strong performance that you'd have to at least think about it if you're Ricky Stewart. He had 7 runs, 62 run meters, 29 post-contact meters, 1 tackle break, 7 hit-ups, 7 receipts, 81.25% tackle efficiency, 26 tackles, 4 missed tackles, 2 ineffective tackles, 1 penalty, and 2 ruck infringements. So there you go. There's the player of the game against, almost said San Jose Sharks again, Cronulla Sharks. Now, for the entire preseason, for the 2 games he played, I thought this guy was outstanding. Mentioned him before. I felt as though in that first in the episode on Friday, I spoke way too much about him. I spoke way too much about him. I should have spread the love a little bit, but it was a little rushed. It was a little bit I need to get this out. I need to do this, that, and the other. I was really scrambling. But, I'll give him his flowers now with some stats to back it up. Preseason MVP for me personally, who, to the surprise of probably nobody, Dane Laurie. I thought he was outstanding. The stats back it up. Over the 2 games we played, 23 runs, 213 run meters, 46, not 406, 46 post-contact meters, 2 hit-ups, 9 tackle breaks, 5 dummy half runs for 58 meters. I'm not good at maths, so I won't tell you what's the average on that one. Wouldn't even know where to start. I need to work on my... I'm studying journalism. I don't need maths. 24 tackles made, 82.935% efficiency. I know how to work out the average, though, of 2 numbers. I don't know how to work out... Oh, I could have worked it out. Oh. Never mind, no. I'm not going to work that out because it's 3 numbers and... Yeah, my mind is not with me. I'm not doing that right now. That is just not happening. 24 tackles made at 82.935% efficiency that I worked out myself. Pat on the back. 4 missed tackles, 1 ineffective tackle, and a whopping 69 receipts. So yeah, there's your preseason MVP. So versus Storms, player of the game, Sione Finau. Versus Sharks, player of the game, Noah Martin. And for the preseason MVP, I have Dane Laurie, to the surprise of absolutely no one, you'd assume. So, that's it. That's all she wrote for today. I said I was going to keep it short. I'll keep it short. There's not really much to talk about. That's the issue with doing an episode on a Friday and a Monday. There's not much to talk about in that 2-day break. Obviously, that episode coming out on the Saturday as well, which probably makes it worse. But yeah, no, I just didn't really want to talk about that game. I really didn't. Didn't rewatch it, otherwise I would have more to talk about. There'd be more things to talk about that are fresh on my mind. But there's just a lack of things to talk about. Slow news day today. But I'll be back on Friday to talk about Vegas. I'm very much looking forward to that. Vegas, baby. But yeah, with that lack of things to talk about over the weekend, obviously 2 days in between a game, maybe I need to start talking more about the games as a whole rather than just the Raiders games. It's probably not a bad idea. Milkman Tips returns Friday, I think, because I think the games are on Saturday, so that's perfect. I'll even chuck in the Leeds game. Spoiler alert, Leeds are winning. I wish. How about the Leeds Rhinos, by the way? I don't know if anyone saw that. We'll talk about that real quick. Absolutely dismantled, who was it? Whoever they played. Can't remember now. Kingston. No, can't remember. But we won. Sivo, Have My Children. How good was he? I don't know if anyone else watched it. But yeah, man, I love my Leeds Rhinos. I think that's clear now. But, oh, man, great game. Danny Levi played pretty well as well. I was rooting hard for him to score a try. He almost got one, but he stacked it. It sucked. It really did. I was really rooting for him to get one. He was falling over. Got the try assist, though. So that's the main thing. Danny Levi watched. That's another thing because I'll be watching Leeds Rhinos games anyway. So that's perfect. There's another thing I can do. Beautiful. But yeah, in response to the episode on Friday and then the following Monday and lack of things to talk about, that's how the schedule's going to go. That's just what I got to do because Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I'm at uni. So can't do much about it, unfortunately, until August or something comes up or there's a public holiday and I'm not doing it on the Monday, so I'll do it on the Tuesday, which probably makes things a little bit better. I've got to find more things to talk about. Obviously, in the season, there'll be a lot more to talk about, a lot more around the NRL. Obviously, the Eagles becoming preseason champions. My wooden spoon pick is not aging well, and I actually looked a few things up, and yeah, it's not a very popular pick, and it's one I'm probably going to come to regret, the Eels, as wooden spooners, it's probably going to be the Knights, unfortunately. I didn't want to pick the Knights, though. That's the thing. I think they might surprise a few people. Obviously, they paid people and they can't afford a lot of other things and all that sort of stuff. I can't see them being back-to-back spooners. Were they the spooners last year? I think they were. Can't see them going back-to-back. I think they'll be down there, but I don't think they will be down there. So anyway, I'll leave you to it. That's it for the Milkman podcast review against the Sharks. Let's not talk about it. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Friday. And as always, up the milk.
Sir, could I trouble you for a glass of warm milk? It helps put me to sleep.
You could trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up. Now you will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep. Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Oh, dear.